President Hawkins, members of the Board of Trustees, faculty, staff, especially all the hard workers who made this event happen today, distinguished guests, family members, friends, and above all else, members of the class of 2024, congratulations on your graduation. All 600 plus of you who are here today have done an incredible amount of work, traveled different paths, and are heading out to a variety of pursuits. Whether you're like Beverly Duran, who tried college 4 other times before, but this time, today, she's graduating. And with a 4.0 GPA, no less. You bet. Or perhaps you're like Srinivasa Acharya, who enrolled after his employer said it would pay the tuition so that he could get his second bachelor's degree as a stepping stone to his master's degree. Today is all of your days. It's your time to shine and bask in the joy of your family and friends as they celebrate the hard work you've done. And yet, it's only the beginning. I'm sorry to say that that's why it's called Commencement. If it was the end, then today would be called something like termination. But this isn't the end. Instead, it's a signpost marking the next phase of your life. And the question for all of you is, a commencement to what? For many of you, it may be that you'll be switching jobs. That's why Beverly enrolled at Bellevue. She was ready to make a career switch and become a teacher. But even if you're not making a job move now, the chances are high that you will sometime soon. Now, how do I know, you might be asking? Well, for starters, 1 billion people worldwide switch jobs every single year. In the United States, almost 1/3 of the workforce switches jobs every year, and each individual changes jobs on average every 4 years. So what I know is this: change is the only thing that's going to be a constant in your career. Now, here's the thing. Out of those 1 billion people switching, most of them regret at least some aspect of that process. Yes, there's that lucky few who stumble upon their dream jobs, but it's not the reality for most of us. Most of us aren't like those people in the picture books who, as young children, know exactly what we want to be when we grow up. We don't follow a straight path. Our journeys zig and zag, and sometimes they loop. The good news is that it's anything but boring. And as you navigate these career journeys, I know a lot of you right now are probably focusing on getting hired. And you're nervous. You're hoping that as you go through job applications and interviews that you'll get chosen, that you'll be the lucky one. And that's what we do a lot of times. When people switch jobs, we tend to say that we got our new role thanks to luck. It's who you know, after all. Or we'll say it was a numbers game. One of those applications was bound to pan out. But our research suggests that we're giving chance much more credit than it deserves. Switching jobs is not random, and it's not independent from all the experiences you've had in your past. It's also not just about someone hiring you, it's about you hiring your next job. Now, you may be rolling your eyes a little bit. Surely employers hold all the cards, you might be saying. Maybe. But I want each of you to remember that you hold power as well. Because when you decide to work somewhere, you are hiring your employer. You are choosing how and where to spend your precious time and what compensation you'll accept for it. You are choosing the work you'll do and with whom you'll do it. And if those choices don't line up with the type of progress and purpose that you're seeking in your life, no one wins. Not your employer, and certainly not you. Now, to be clear, you can't avoid trade-offs, but I want you to be intentional about what those trade-offs are. I want you to choose what's going to suck about your next job so that you can get all the great things that you do want. Now, how can I do that, you might be asking? And although I can't share everything in the time allotted here, I just want to give you a few parting tips from what we've learned in coaching and studying thousands of job seekers. The first step is to make that mindset shift. You are hiring your next job just as much as they are hiring you. The second step is to stop focusing on the features of a job and what you'll be. Most people, when they search for a job, they often focus on the features they want. Better hours, less travel, higher pay, a worthier title, faster advancement, greater responsibility, and more impact. And I'll be honest with you, all those things sound pretty sweet. I confess I kind of want them too. But such lists rarely help us make progress because they don't ground us in the reasons why we're looking for change. All the different forces that are driving us to find something new. Here's a way to think about it. When you search for an apartment or a house, all the listings that you read talk about features. You know the list: open kitchens, granite countertops, natural light, finished basements, on and on. But by themselves, these lists lack meaning. They can also mislead. You need to dig deeper by considering the day-to-day experiences you have now and those you want to change. I'll give you an example. Let's suppose you're a working parent of young children. You might say to yourself, it's hard to work from home where I'm currently living. It's too cramped and noisy. I need a quiet place so I can focus. And my kids need a way to run outside so they can play without disrupting me. With that understanding, now you can figure out what you need to prioritize in your search. I want you to do the same thing in your job searches, now and in the future. Rather than thinking about what you'll be, its title and all that, I want you to think about what you're going to do on a day-to-day basis, what the actual work and tasks are. And I want you to line that up against two questions. Number one, how do you want your next job to motivate or energize you? And number two, how do you want that job to make use of your capabilities? And when you go out and talk to people about their jobs, I want you to overlay those questions against everything. Will the actual work in this job line up with what drives my energy? Or is it going to drain me? Will it line up with how I can contribute? Or is it at odds with the skills that I've developed at Bellevue and elsewhere and those I want to keep developing? When you're being interviewed, you should interview them as well. Be curious. How do the things that people do in this job on a day-to-day basis line up with what gives you energy and your capabilities? Ask them about the actual day-to-day and week-to-week experiences. And guess what? I'll give you a little tip. People are self-interested, it turns out. They love talking about themselves. So when you show interest in them and their day-to-day experiences and choices, all of a sudden, you'll have something in common. You're both interested in them, and that will get them even more excited about you. Here's my final piece of advice as you leave today and continue in your careers. Remember that successful job switching is a social process. Remember to build great support networks, not just among your family and close friends, but also those who you know less well, because they are the secrets to your career opportunities you'd never otherwise hear about. And together, these people will be the supports that will help you build and achieve your dreams. For Srinivasa, that was Professor Brian Barney, who was always responsive and helpful as he navigated his online course. And then it was Srinivasa's wife who needled him and kept saying, "When are you going to get that next degree?" For Beverly, that was the support team at Bellevue that said, "It's no problem if you can't come to Bellevue and do your teacher prep program in person. We'll do it online. We can make this work." And it was the team at Bellevue that said, "Why don't you be a substitute teacher while you're getting your degree?" And then it was her husband and her kids who made it all possible and who she was not going to let down. I want you all to remember that life is lived with and among others. We are social creatures, and whether it's in your careers or as you graduate from Bellevue today, it's the people around us that make it all worthwhile. As you celebrate today, take a look at those people in the audience. Give them a hug or a fist bump, and then remind them that they can achieve their dreams too. Because after all, you just did it. Members of the class of 2024, congratulations.